I was born in Katowice in Poland in 1963, and I grew up in a family of four with my brother George and my parents. And since I was 1 year old, I became a member of an Oblate parish. In Poland, 95% of populations are Catholic, so this was the big influence on my family life, and my parents were very practicing and very devout Catholics. And since I was 6 years old, I became an altar boy and serving in parish for the Mass. I attended the public schools because of communism in Poland. There was no Catholic or private schools. And so before I went to school, I always went to serve Mass, either at 6 or 6:45, 7:15. That's were the morning Masses that we had, or one at 7 p.m. And this was for me always a great opportunity, and I really enjoyed doing it, even as a boy, as a child, to serve, and especially all the forms of devotions that the parish had to offer. And also being in a parish where the missionary oblates were present, this was also a great thing of seeing so many priests and brothers in my home parish and interacting with them because of being an altar server, and this was actually a big influence for me. The other part of the influence in a parish like that run by the Oblates was that we had missionaries coming and giving a testimony or showing us slideshows about their work from Cameroon or Madagascar or other part of the world. And this was always of a great interest to me, seeing how they work, how they fulfill their ministry. And so when I was in 5th grade, it became somehow clear that that's what I would like to do. It was an interesting encounter when I came to the sacristy and to get ready to serve at Mass. There was a Vocation poster, black and white, saying, "And you can become an Oblate of Mary Immaculate." And after I looked at this and read this poster, basically this is where the idea started, and that's what I claim, that I heard the call in 5th grade to follow the vocation and to explore it, at least to see what can happen. And it didn't take long, because when I was in 7th grade, there was an Oblate who came to our parish, and he organized a vocation group of young men interesting in becoming or talking about vocations and become Oblates. And there was a group of about 12 or 15 of us that were participating in it. And out of this group, a good number of us went to a minor seminary. And we had a minor seminary in Poland. And so basically following the desire or the call that I felt with some of my friends, we went. So when I was 15, I left home and went to our minor seminary in Markowice. And so that's how my vocations, or the more in-depth contact and discernment, started with the Oblates being in the minor seminary. Obviously, I got interested in music and playing a band in a seminary. I was also a goalie playing in soccer with the team, and so this was my kind of interest. The big adjustment was that I had to work on the farm, and being a city boy, there was a little adjustment, but it was fun learning all those things that were going on, the chores that we had to do at the seminary. And obviously, following the minor seminary, I decided to continue. I went to the novitiate in Święty Krzyż, and then continue with the 6 years of seminary formation. So that's basically my journey up to my ordinations. And my goal, or my dream, and also my call, I always thought that becoming an Oblate is basically to be a missionary, to leave my country. And so my parents, my family knew that I was always mentioning to to leave Poland to go as a missionary somewhere else. I didn't know where to go, which country, which continent, but it was always my dream. And so my original thought was to go to Canada to work in Northwest Territories with Native Americans over there, but obviously didn't happen. I was sent to work in a parish in Poland, and then was approached with the proposal to come to the United States to work here. And that's what happened in 1991. 2 years after my ordinations, I came here with Father Mitch. Two of us came to Chicago to start the journey of a missionary, leaving, your own country behind and going and proclaiming Christ in a different continent, different country, in a different culture. And so that's why I've been here since 1991. My work here in the province, in the United States, was mostly in parishes, in St. Paul, in Duluth, in South Dakota. I was also a vocation director for 6 years, and then for 7 years in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. And then in the last year and a half, I've been here at the Shrine of Our Lady of the Snows, working in this particular place. Talking about shrine ministry, pilgrimages in Poland were very important, a big part of our expression of our faith, and especially there were also a certain form of manifestation during the communism. There were people who believed, that people that were to express their faith, not just in churches or homes. And that's why in my era of Poland, there was a shrine to Our Lady, and there was always a big pilgrimage of men and young men each year, and continues to this day. And so my father were taking me when I was probably in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, to go with him, to join him on this about 10-mile pilgrimage to the shrine for the all-day event at that place. It was around June, if I recall it. And so this was my introduction. So being here at the shrine right now these days, it's in a sense, it's a kind of form of fulfillment of the shrines that I visited in Poland, being a novitiate, which is also a shrine of the Holy Cross, and seeing all the pilgrimages coming and serving the people that were coming, ministering to them in the different capacities at that time. So I guess it was a kind of a way of preparations, plus obviously having our great national shrine in Poland of Our Lady of Częstochowa, the Black Madonna, which I visited every year. And so this was always a nice place of renewing our faith and also a journey, understanding our faith and our life. To be an oblate, I think the big influence, I would say, as each vocation is a God's call, being in the, I would say, right place and the right time, growing up in Oblate parish, and sensing, that this is where I belong, meeting the oblates in my parish, and also the particular work of a missionary aspect of the work. It was probably the biggest draw for myself to join the Oblates. I had an offer from Franciscans also, because I had some family connections to Franciscans, but somehow the Oblates felt like, in knowing the Oblates in the parish, and the parish actually I grew up in, there was always about between 15 and 22 Oblates, a big Oblate community. And so the interaction with many different Oblates and brothers and retired Oblates and young Oblates, and doing different other different forms of ministry, this was something that I think influenced me, and I felt, I felt like being home with the Oblates in my home parish. There's also one aspect in my vocation that I never knew, but after I was ordained and had my first Mass in my home parish, my father came up to me and said that since I was born, he was praying for me to become a missionary, to become a priest, and this was for me, kind of a revelation, but it's also something that I felt that there was a support for me, because my parents, they were always supporting me, but knowing that after I learned that he was praying for me all those years, you know, for my vocation to become a priest, without telling me this, because there was otherwise it would be a pressure. But I felt it as a really you know, sign that really, after being ordained and hearing this from my God, that there was a support, that there was some spiritual support that I received from my father on my way and my journey and my discernment of becoming a priest and becoming an oblate. And so this wasn't just me, but there was some spiritual influence on the decisions and my vocation.